Alright, let's look at the practice exam 1, problem number 1, right, part A. Alright, so we want to find the domain of this rational function f of x equals x minus 2 over x plus 4. Right? So the rule we need to worry about would be whenever you have a fraction, we have to make sure that the denominator is non-zero. Right? So in this case, denominator is x plus 4. Right? So we say this cannot be equal to 0. Right? So let's solve this inequality and try to isolate x. Right? We can solve inequality just like equality. So we get rid of negative 4 by subtracting 4. Right? So you can see that x is now by itself because we subtract 4. So it cannot be equal to 0 minus 4 is negative 4. Alright, so therefore we found the domain of f. So d sub f is equal to, right, all real numbers except for negative 4. Right, so we say if you want to write it in interval notation, you can go from negative infinity and up to negative 4, but we skip negative 4 and then go all the way to positive infinity. Right? So that's the domain of f. Right? So let's look at the part B. Right? Let's find the derivative, the domain of the g of x. Right? So you can see that there's a square root. Whenever you see a square root or 4th root, 6th root, any eventh root, we have to make sure that the expression inside has to be non-negative. Right? So negative is bad. Alright, so we take this guy. In this particular problem, the expression inside the square root is 3 minus 5x. So we have to make sure that this is greater than or equal to 0. So that's non-zero. Alright, so again, I'm going to try to solve for x there. Alright, first thing I would do is get rid of 3 by subtracting 3. Right? Then you would get the negative 5x. Right? We have the same inequality, so it's a greater than or equal to. And let's subtract 3 from there. So 0 minus 3 is negative 3. Alright, then we need to get rid of negative 5. So we can do that by divide through by negative 5. Alright, then you would have x, which is greater than or equal to. Actually, we have to be a little bit careful. Alright, so whenever you divide by or multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to change the direction of the inequality. So originally it's greater than or equal. We have to write it as less than or equal. Right? So negative 3 divided by negative 5 is positive 3/5 because those negatives cancel out each other. Alright, so therefore domain of G is going to be, right, so anything less than or equal to 3/5. So start from negative infinity and all the way to 3/5. Right? So in this case there's equality involved, so we put the square bracket. Square bracket is inclusive and the parentheses are exclusive. Right? So that's the domain of G. Right, that's it. I hope that this was clear.